What a difference a few days can make. Germany, right? One of the greatest football nations in history has been eliminated from FIFA World Cup once again. Morocco is celebrating another historic victory. Ivory Coast has been knocked out, while the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Senegal are preparing for one of the biggest matches in their football history. But away from football, from the football field, Africa is confronting a major political and social challenges. South Africa is witnessing anti-immigrant protests that have overshadowed its inspiring World Cup run. Senegal is facing political unrest over proposed constitutional reforms. African leaders have just concluded one of African Union most important annual meetings in Egypt. In the United States of America, the Supreme Court has issued a landmark ruling rejecting President Donald Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. These stories may seem unrelated, but they all raise fundamental questions about governance, identity, immigration, democracy, and the future of nations. Welcome back to When the Dust Settles. If you are new to this channel, thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications so that you never miss in-depth discussion about Africa and global affairs. Let's get started. Africa continues to shine at the FIFA World Cup. The knockout stages of the 2026 FIFA World Cup continues to produce unforgettable moments, and African football remains one of the tournament's biggest success stories. Morocco once again demonstrated why it has become one of the world's elite football nations after defeating Netherlands in a dramatic penalty shootout. I saw that game yesterday, and I was so impressed with Morocco. The Atlas Lions showed tremendous composure under pressure. Working their place in the round of 16, they will be facing Canada. For Morocco, this victory continues a remarkable proud period in African football history and further strengthens Morocco's growing reputation on the international stage. Unfortunately, not every African country was able to advance. Ivory Coast's impressive World Cup run came to an end after a high 2-1 defeat to Norway. Despite showing determination throughout the match, the Elephants were unable to find the equalizer in what had been an encouraging tournament. And tomorrow, African football supporters will once again turn attention to two enormous round of 32 matches. The Democratic Republic of the Congo will face England in what could become one of the greatest victories in that is the winner in Congolese football history. Meanwhile, Senegal will take on Belgium in another heavyweight contest as the Lions of Teranga attempt to secure a place in the round of 16. But that's the thing. With Senegal already through, the DR Congo and Senegal are still competing. Africa continues to demonstrate that its football future has never looked better or brighter. Each victory enhances the continent's global reputation and inspires millions of young players who dream of representing their countries on the football's biggest stage. One of the tournament's biggest surprises has been Germany's elimination. After opening the tournament with a commanding 7-1 victory over Carousel, many football analysts believed Germany has finally rediscovered their form that made them the full-time World Cup champions. Instead, everything unraveled. Germany struggled to break down the Ivory Coast. I know they defeated Ivory Coast 2-1. I said they were just lucky to win that game. Ivory Coast ready playing. They lost to Ecuador despite scoring early in that game. Then came the devastating round of 32 defeat to Paraguay. Following the match, Germany captain Kimmich, Joshua Kimmich, delivered a remarkably honest assessment. He admitted Germany simply did not perform well enough. According to Kimmich, Germany struggled against every opponent and deserved to be eliminated, coming from the captain. These comments reflect growing concern over German football. Since winning the tournament, since winning the World Cup in 2014, Germany has suffered 3 consecutive early exits, raising serious concern or question about player development, coaching philosophy, and the future direction of one of football's greatest nations. Now, only days after South Africans celebrated their national team's inspiring World Cup performance, the country's attention has shifted dramatically. Thousands of demonstrators gathered in Johannesburg as unofficial June 30th deadline, demanding undocumented migrants leave South Africa. South Africa inspired. Protesters argue that illegal immigration contributes to unemployment, crime, and growing pressure on public services. Although the deadline, this June 30th deadline, that's the protesters gave their own deadline. Although this artificial deadline from these protesters carries no legal authority, organizers of these protests have vowed to continue their campaign until stronger immigration enforcement measures are implemented across South Africa. The timing of the whole thing is striking, right? Only a few days earlier, South Africans from every background were united beyond Bafana during one of the country's most successful World Cup campaigns in years. Although South Africa eventually lost to Canada by 1-0 in the round of 32, the team earned widespread admiration and gave the nation a renewed sense of pride. Today, however, those celebrations have largely been replaced by heated debate over immigration, economic opportunity, and public safety. Human rights organizations continue urging calm. while warning against xenophobic violence. South African government officials have emphasized that immigration laws must be enforced through legal institutions rather than through intimidation or attacks against foreign nationals. But this is a situation that keeps reoccurring in South Africa. You know what I mean? It keeps reoccurring in South Africa. And something has to be done. Africans cannot be treated like that. The situation illustrates a difficult balance South Africa faces as it seeks to address legitimate public concerns while protecting constitutional rights and maintaining social cohesion. Now, I did a video about Senegal. I hope you can go and watch that video. Political tension are also rising in Senegal. Police fire tear gas to disperse demonstrators outside the national parliament as lawmakers debated proposed constitutional reform. The proposed amendment could significantly strengthen the powers of parliament while reducing the authority of the presidency. Supporters believe the reform could improve democratic accountability and create stronger institutional checks and balances. Opponents, on the other hand, argue that weakening the presidency could produce political instability during the period of regional uncertainty. Despite the demonstration outside of the National Assembly, lawmakers continue debating the legislation under heightening security. Senegal has long been regarded as one of West Africa's strongest democracies. And as I said, I made a video on this topic, so I advise you to go and watch that video so you know some of the issues that are being raised in our video. The outcome of this constitutional debate could shape the country's political institutions for decades. Meanwhile, while individual countries confront domestic challenges, African leaders gather in El Alamein, Egypt, for the African Union 8th May coordination meeting. I talked about this in my last video. I hope you can go and watch that video. Unlike the African Union Summit each February, this meeting focuses on implementation rather than adopting new continental policy. The objective is simple but important. Are African countries actually implementing the commitment they have already made? This year's discussion centered on Agenda 2063. We talk about Agenda 2063 on many occasions. Go and watch our other videos, you know. Strengthening cooperation between the African Union and regional economic communities, accelerating the African continental free trade area, expanding infrastructure, improving digital connectivity, financing the African Union, and addressing conflicts in Sudan, Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, Somalia, and the Sahel. Leaders also discuss improving coordination among Africa's regional economic communities, including ECOWAS, SADC, COMESA, the East African Community, IGA, and you name the rest of them. One of the interesting developments is that despite the importance of this meeting, African leaders African Union has not released its final declaration or official communique. But that is not unusual, right? Major AU declarations often require additional review and translation before publication. Once released, the declaration will provide greater clarity on implementation, deadlines, and future priorities. U.S. Supreme Court rejected President Donald Trump's birthright citizenship executive order. This is one of the biggest stories right now in the United States. Our final story takes us to the United States. In one of the most significant constitutional decisions in recent years, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled 5-4 against President Donald Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship for children born to undocumented citizens, to undocumented immigrants in the United States. That decision reaffirmed the long-standing interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to nearly everyone born on American soil. Supporters of the executive order argue that birthright citizenship encourages illegal immigration and that the Constitution should be interpreted differently, right? That's one side of the argument. Opponents maintain that changing such a fundamental constitutional principle through executive action could create uncertainty for hundreds of thousands of children and undermine the more than century of legal precedent. The court ultimately agreed with that argument, right? Reaffirming that any major change to birthright citizenship could likely require constitutional or legislative action rather than a presidential executive order. Well, you can change it, but it has to go through Congress, or you got to go through constitutional amendment. This decision is expected to become one of the defining legal rulings of President Donald Trump's single administration and will likely shape immigration debates for years to come. For years to come. Folks, this week's headlines reveal a war undergoing profound change. On the football pitch, African countries continue to rewrite history. Morocco has advanced to the round of 16, while Senegal and the Democratic Republic of the Congo now carry the hopes of the entire continent into a crucial knockout match. As well, Germany's continuous decline reminds us that past success guarantees nothing in modern football. What you did 2 years ago, 5 years ago, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it today. Beyond sports, South Africa's immigration debate demonstrates how quickly national celebration can give way to political and economic realities. Senegal's constitutional debate highlights the ongoing challenge of balancing executive authority with democratic accountability. The African Union's May-year coordination meeting reminds us that continental integration is not achieved through speeches alone. It requires implementation, cooperation, financing, and political commitment. Finally, the United States Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship underscores the enduring importance of constitutional institutions and the separation of powers in democratic governance. Although these stories unfold in different countries and under different circumstances, right? They are connected by common theme. They ask who belongs, how governments should exercise power, how societies respond to economic pressure, how democratic institutions should function, and how nations can prepare for an increasingly interconnected future. These questions are shaping Africa, the United States, and indeed the entire world. As these events continue to develop, we will continue bringing you the facts, the context, and the analysis that help make sense of the headlines. Folks, if you enjoyed today's discussion, please support When the Dust Settles by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with your friends and family and colleagues who are interested in African affairs, global politics, and international sports. Leave your comments in the leave your thoughts in the comments below. Can Morocco continue its remarkable World Cup journey? Will Senegal and the Democratic Republic of the Congo advance to the round of 16? How should South Africa address immigration while protecting human rights? What impact will Senegal's constitutional reforms have on its democracy? And what outcomes do you hope to see from the African Union following the May year coordination meeting? Folks, as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember that this real story often begins when the dust settles. Folks, once again, my name is Pico Conway. Thanks very much. Bye for now.